you might know the individual steps, but it's kind of hard to know the whole flow of it, right? It's hard to know like, or maybe what's really important about this. So let's start with, I'm actually going to start with how I'm going to grade this. And I'm going to change my draft of how I'm going to grade it a little bit. But for the most part, like this is how it's going to work. I think I have it worth 100 points. And I think my rubric here is telling me that it's out of 90. So I'll just change my rubric right now and I'll let you guys know what that is. So it looks like this. A rubric is something that tells you like, it's a big grid and, you know, so it says 10 points over here and then there's technically 9 categories, but I'm going to make one of these categories worth double. And you'll see what this is. Okay. So number 1, chords chosen. If you have chosen chords that are from the C major thing like this, then you are fine. So you have picked chords and put them in the right place. That is worth 10 points. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? You have picked chords and you've put them into your project. That is worth 10 points. Second one, rhythm track. Okay, you have added a drum machine and it isn't just like random drum machine garbage. Do you guys know what I'm talking about by random drum machine garbage? We really haven't had a lot of time to break that apart. But if you're making drum machine stuff and it sounds like this, you're doing too much drum machine. Keep it simple. Boom, clap, and have a couple other sounds. Super simple. Okay, that is worth 10 points. Next one, you have added a bass line. The bass line follows the chord progression. Okay, meaning if you've chosen a C major chord, your bass line has a C in it, right? Or if you've chosen an E minor chord, your bass line includes an E because like that's the chord. Like if it's the chord, the bass is that one note. Okay, next thing, accompaniment. Okay, so the chords are correct. That's all. You've just like literally if you choose chords and then you enter in them correctly, you're golden. So the chords are actually worth 20 points if you think about it. You have a melody. You have a melody and it's 4 measures long. You shouldn't be able to screw this one up. Melodies that are 4 measures. And then we have 10 points for the arrangement. Your arrangement needs to have little boxes that are all lined up in 4 measure things, like 4 measure blocks. Okay. If your little 4 measure blocks are overlapping, something's gone wrong. You need to make sure they're all stacked up like little bricks or little Legos. Okay. And phrasing. Okay. Make sure it's following 4 measure framework. We haven't really talked about what phrasing means, but I can hear it. Basically, as long as all your stuff's in 4 measures, that's good. And time. Here's our time thing. You have 10 points dedicated just to time. But check this out. You could technically have a C major project that has a bass line and chords and rhythm and all that sort of stuff. And as long as it's like longer than 30, or as long as it hits 30 seconds, I can actually kind of tell, you could technically get an A. You probably won't get an A because you won't have really enough to get all this other stuff in for me to hear it. But you could theoretically do a 30-second project and get an A. But I'll be honest, 30 seconds or 2 minutes or more is our goal for this. So this will be the rubric, but you guys already kind of know this stuff. You guys already know this. You already know you have to have a melody and some chords and the bass line and a drum machine. And once you do that, you go and restructure it and then get it to the 2-minute mark. And that's the project. That's it. Melody, chords, bass line, right? You do that in flat, download the MIDI file, put it up into the, into a synthesizer, and then add the drum machine with the variations. Okay. And you got to remember, like, I'm going to give a lot of 10 points out, like, unless you really screw it up. This should be a really easy project to get an A on, and it should be a lot of fun. If you follow directions, this will sound acceptably good, and you should be like pleasantly surprised by how good yours sounds, or at least how good the rest of the people's in classes sound. Everyone type in the word Monday in the chat box. This is due on Monday. We will be listening to them on Wednesday. You guys following? Okay. This is due on Monday. We will be listening to them on Wednesday. You could theoretically turn it in on Tuesday. Okay. But we're going to have today. You're going to have, well, I'm guessing Friday you'll probably be doing your Flipgrid. If you want to tinker with it over the weekend, that's cool. But like drop dead date, we have to get this. I know, John. And you know what? I give you guys permission for it to not sound great. Here's why. I want you to look at this. Look at this. There's no grade on here for sounding good. There's only grades for the fact that you've put the correct chords in there. You've put a rhythm track in there and a bass line and a melody. And you've made an arrangement out of it and it fills up time. There's nothing in here about like sounding, you know, like you're about to drop your track or drop your next album. Sorry, I'm getting emails right now. Okay, so if you're having like an anxiety attack about your track not sounding good, if it's worth doing, it's worth turning in. Like try to get as many of these checkboxes done. And then if these are done, you just turn it in and let it be. And I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised on how good it is. Okay. And to prove to you, like if for some reason you've gotten horribly confused on what to do, I'm going to do this project in 5 minutes. I used to have a timer right here. I used to have like a little timer plugin, but I think all the plugins got wrong. So maybe I should do a timer on my phone. Or does anyone want to be the official timer? Anyone have a phone with them that wants to do the official time? Max will do it. Nice. Okay, so Max, you just have to give me minute marks. You have to give me little countdowns and stuff, okay? The rule is I'm going to get it as far as I can in 5 minutes. And then I'll answer everyone's questions. And I just want you to watch me do this and I'll talk through it. Okay. I have flat open right here. Of course, you know, you have to go into, I'm going to have to yell at my dog here in a second. In order to get to flat, you have to go into music first, right? Okay. And, of course, we have all the videos about that are ready. But really, I'm going to start off with this right here. I'm going to click create. I'm going to create only one idea. You could technically do this whole project with only one idea. And at the end of the 5 minutes of working, I'm not going to listen to this at all during the 5 minutes. I'm going to hit play. And we're going to listen to what I got done in 5 minutes is essentially a blank project. Do you guys have any questions before we start? Allison, you can also time it as well. That's cool. I'm going to check on my dog and give me a second. Butters, what is it? It was nothing. It was nothing. It was probably just a chicken or something. Okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, you know, see, think of reverb like adding icing on the cake. Like try to bake your cake. Bake your cake by choosing, you know, good notes and making a nice arrangement. And then once you have it like, you know, quote unquote kind of done in terms of your ideas, you can add reverb onto it. You can add other effects. And you can do the mixing that we talked about. But really it's the notes that I'm most worried about. Okay. Max, go ahead and count me down. And if you're timing along yourself, count me down, Max. 5 minutes.